Oh my gosh. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we have the neon sign back up, but more importantly than that, we have some very important news to talk about. Global economy has been saved. Reddit's Moon token has a $2.64 septillion market capitalization. Now, if you don't know what a septillion is, it's probably because you've never played either Cookie Clicker or a venture capitalist. A septillion is 10 followed by 24 zeros, meaning that, thanks to Reddit, the global economy has now been increased by an order of 2 trillion percentage points. Guys, we have a lot to talk about in today's video. It's not just about Reddit saving the world or about the neon sign. We also have to discuss the stagnation on Bitcoin and the technical indicators and fundamental factors that may be about to break that. In today's video, I want to talk about something called a bull whale cluster, and I also want to talk about some difficulty hash ribbons, which you may never have heard of before, and we're also going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin. So guys, if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. By the way, for all you audio-visual nerds, thank you so much for your help over the last couple of videos. Need your help again. This is not actually a neon sign, it's an LED. Hence the flickering. Please help. I think you know what I mean. Yeah, okay. Comment section. Cool, thanks. Guys, we're not going to be doing a lot of technical analysis on Bitcoin today, to be honest with you. We have 4 different news articles to talk about, and I don't really care that much about what's going on Bitcoin because there's not much going on Bitcoin. But I will say this, Bitcoin has had a pullback down to the 20 exponential moving average, and we are currently bouncing off of it. That is definitely good news, but keep in mind the volume is absolutely abysmal, and almost every single altcoin in the top 100 is down in the last 30 days. In fact, as we'll talk about later, 93% of the top 250 coins have declined in price this month. Needless to say, we're seeing a period of stagnation on Bitcoin. There's just not much going on. But luckily, as you guys know, and as we've talked about more than once on this channel, when there's stagnation, you can ultimately look forward to a return to volatility in the future. And a return to volatility on Bitcoin, based on our fundamentals and long-term technicals, would likely look very bullish. When that happens is a very good question, and one that we'll be answering relatively soon. For now, though, if Bitcoin wants to break out of this sideways trading channel, it either needs to break above $11,100 or it needs to break below $10,000, and quite frankly, it doesn't look like Bitcoin wants to do either of those things right now. I'd like to harken back to this period of the market. Many of you guys who have been with the channel remember me trying to find something to make a video on back during this time when Bitcoin was trading sideways all the way from August all the way through until November. Bitcoin barely did anything, and it is very possible that we're entering another period like that. But look, guys, that's not something to be worried about. If you look at the beginning of the 2016-17 bull market right here on the daily chart, you'll notice something very important. Bitcoin traded sideways for 200 days. Sideways trading is not a bad thing for Bitcoin. In fact, I wouldn't say there's any inherent good or badness to it. It just means that Bitcoin has not decided on the direction of a trend just yet. But that doesn't mean that the underlying fundamentals aren't looking bullish. Let's talk about those. Because there are 2 very important articles that I want to bring to your attention that I researched yesterday. Number 1, the bulls have won, according to this article. Bitcoin whale cluster suggests Bitcoin is having a trend reversal relatively soon. As you can see on this hourly map of unspent Bitcoins, we can see where whales have been putting a lot of their buy orders. Many buy orders have been put in at $10,400, $10,570, and $10,667, indicating that a large number of whales believe that Bitcoin is going to be moving to the upside, else they wouldn't be buying Bitcoin, they'd be shorting. This is kind of harkening back to the trust the experts argument I was making in yesterday's video with Jack Dorsey. While I don't necessarily believe Jack Dorsey is an expert on Bitcoin, I do believe that he knows a good thing or two about business, considering he runs a multi-billion-dollar company. In the same way, I think it's a good idea for us to look at the whales and see what they're doing, because if the whales are buying Bitcoin, that must mean that they're doing it for a reason. Most whales, in fact, I'd say probably all whales, at least did not get to where they are by being stupid. And they certainly aren't going to stay where they are if they don't know what they're talking about. These whales buying Bitcoin at these relatively low levels compared to where I think we're going is a very good sign. But it's not just that. There's also something called a Bitcoin difficulty ribbon chart that we can look at on Glassnode. Looking at the difficulty ribbon with an untrained eye, you might not really understand what's going on right now. That's why if you look at something called the difficulty ribbon compression, you can see what we're talking about. By the way, guys, if you don't have an account on Glassnode, you should probably get one. You want to talk about fundamental indicators, this is the place to be. A lot of people don't talk about it that much. I'm going to. Ton of useful info on here. I'm going to try and break down the difficulty ribbon as simply as I possibly can because I actually plan on making a full video on this in the future. The difficulty ribbon is essentially many different moving averages based on Bitcoin's difficulty, and the alignment of those moving averages, alignment of normal moving averages being something we talk about in CT2A, the alignment of those difficulty moving averages gives you indications about what the bulls and the bears are thinking and doing and where Bitcoin might be heading. As you can see on the ribbon itself, we have our different intervals, everything from 9 days up to 200 days, as we can see. Those moving averages, of course, being based on the actual difficulty of Bitcoin mining, which, by the way, has moved ever since I got into the space from 3, I believe, septillion, all the way up to 83 septillion. There's been a huge mining difficulty increase, which is a great fundamental factor in its own right. However, the way you read these moving average ribbons is very similar to how you read normal moving average ribbons on a chart. You look at the compression of them and their orientation and alignment. And as you can see, we have seen the difficulty ribbon compression drop below 0.05, which is the threshold for indicating that sideways and downwards trading may be ending and a new rally may be starting. Like I said, I'm going to do an entire video on this in the future, but I wanted to bring it to your attention that this is a very complex and very accurate technical indicator, fundamental indicator that is calling for long-term bullishness. But I want to move on here really quickly. 93% of the top 250 coins have declined in price here in the month of September. The reason this is important is because a lot of those coins were getting hyped up because of the hype on DeFi over on Ethereum. And ever since some of that hype has started to subside, Ethereum's price action has been doing exactly the same. But the good news is, guys, as we talked about in a previous video, whenever you see a red light off in the distance, you can rest assured, because if you're like a quarter mile from that red light, by the time you get there, it's probably going to be green. But if it's green and you're a quarter mile away, it's probably going to be red when you get there, and you have to sit there and wait on it. The good news is, guys, is that especially if you're newer to the space right now, the fact that Bitcoin is trading sideways is a good thing for you, because rallies don't actually last that long on Bitcoin. A lot of times they only last 2 or 3 months. And that's not long enough for you to actually understand how the markets work. So you need to be investing in your education right now so that you can prepare for when these fundamentals come to pass and force another Bitcoin bull market so that you can be profitable. A lot of people think, oh, the bull market started, time to make a trade. No, you should have made the trade before. You should have made the investment before. You should have been ready before. You should have been learning before when Bitcoin was doing nothing. What do we call the smart money? We call the smart money the people that got in when the market was trading sideways. So I encourage you, be the smart money, work in this space right now, learn this space right now, make your investments right now if you see fit, because you will thank yourself when the bull market does come. Don't wait for it to start. Be ready before it starts. You don't want to start practicing for the big game when the big game is in the first quarter. You want to be practicing months in advance. Right now, we're at the months in advance phase, guys. Playoffs is happening in a few months. Get ready, because you're going to miss it if you don't. With that said, we do have a funny article we want to talk about here, because you guys may have heard of something called Moon over on Reddit. Because as you guys can see, the global economy has been saved. Hooray! Reddit's Moon token now has a $2.64 septillion market capitalization. By the way, like we said at the beginning of the video, $2.4 septillion, 2.6, doesn't really matter. $2.64 septillion is 2, followed by 24 zeros. Or in this case, since there's a 6 and a 4, 22 zeros. Math. Anyway, the reason I put this at the end of the video is because it's more of a joke article than anything, because this is obviously a mistake. In May, Reddit announced it would begin distributing ERC20 rewards tokens on the Rinkeby testnet amongst users of its cryptocurrency and Fortnite subcommunities in the form of moons and bricks. The tokens are distributed according to a user's contribution to their respective subreddits. Moon pairings appeared on the DAI network exchange Honeyswap last week after Reddit introduced a feature allowing moons to be converted into coins. Uh-oh. Moon hodlers can now trade the tokens by converting them to XMoon via xmoon.exchange and then exchanging the XMoons for XDAI, which can be converted to stablecoins DAI 1-for-1 via Honeyswap. The problem is, there's literally septillions of Moon tokens, and DAI is supposed to be a United States dollar stablecoin. According to Etherscan, roughly 30 septillion moons have been distributed to roughly 7,800 addresses, meaning the token's market capitalization is roughly $2.66 septillion. By contrast, the entire global economy is now currently worth $133 trillion, suggesting the creation of moons has increased the value of the world's economy by close to 2 trillion%. Who said crypto wasn't good for the economy? So there you go, guys. We are absolutely saved. Oil crisis earlier this year? Nah, it's fine. Massive, massive, massive unrest in much of the first world? Nah, it's good. Huge pandemic? Nah, we're okay. So, like, a massive, massive stock, like crypto, all kinds of financial crises, banking crisis, negative interest rates, bonds hitting 0% yield, all that? No, we're good. We're good. Reddit and Moon Token came in to save the day. Hooray! Thank you. Thank you, Reddit. Thank you so much. By the way, we have a subreddit now. I think. They're working on it out there in the office. I'm not really sure. I think we have a subreddit. I think we're about to anyway. But that reminds me, before we go, guys, I do want to remind you, we are now active on most of our social media. So go follow us on Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn and Reddit and all the places. It's all at CryptoJeb. And like I said at the beginning of the video, for any of our AV nerds, this flickering sign is really just not going to stay. So I know you guys want the Bitcoin sign, and I don't want to pay $1,000 to get an actual neon sign made that looks like that. So let me know if there's anything we can do in this camera. We're set to 1/50 shutter speed right now, and we're shooting at 24 frames a second for anyone that needs that information. If you know how we can fix that, let me know. We did try putting it in 1/60 because American electricity is in 60 hertz. Didn't fix it. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. We'd love to have your help with that. Anyway, guys, before we go, I do want to mention one thing, and that is that this channel is so graciously sponsored by one of my favorite exchanges in crypto, Bybit. If you are not very experienced in cryptocurrency, I warn you, you should probably not be trading on Bybit because you are at risk of making a freaking load of money and, you know, also losing a lot of money because leverage is dangerous. But if you are ready to leverage trade and you think that you can use that to your advantage, if you want to help out this channel, you can use our link to Bybit in the description down below. Like I said, it helps to pay the bills around here, and we would very much appreciate your support. But guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.